Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out both the launch trailer and the long-awaited gameplay trailer for The Last of Us Part 1 Remake, which will be out the day that this video goes live. This game comes out September 2nd, and that's the day that this is going to end up being posted, but it's fine. We're in the past in terms of when this is on YouTube. But currently, the game is not out, but we do know that some people have had their hands on it. Now, one of the questions for me personally with The Last of Us Part 1 Remake is the gameplay, because I will tell you, I did not play The Last of Us when it came out in PlayStation 3. I owned The Last of Us Remastered for PlayStation 4. I tried it, and the gameplay just felt really clunky. And in a lot of ways, but the biggest one was aiming the gun. It felt like it felt so stiff. Like you could only go up or down and then left or right. Like it was a fucking crane game, right? Have you ever tried to play a crane game at the arcade? That's what you're doing, except instead of trying to grab a stuffy with a stupid dejected crane, you're trying to shoot a guy in the head, and neither of them worked very well. And I don't know if that's actually better in The Last of Us Part 2, because I still haven't played that either. But I didn't take a lot of interest in The Last of Us Part 2 because of how much, I didn't jive with the gameplay of The Last of Us Part 1. And so here we are getting closer to a remake. I've had people tell me that The Last of Us Part 2 plays better than Part 1, but I wouldn't know. And I'm hoping that this looks like it plays better. We'll find out. So we got the launch trailer and the gameplay trailer. Let's check out the launch trailer, and then we'll watch the gameplay video, and then we'll see where we sit on it, and we'll also talk about that $70 price tag.
Now, the girl. Is she alive?
What girl? I don't know no girl.
Oh! Joel, you're a dick.
She's alive.
Where?
In the town. In the town.
Oh!
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You do what I say, when I say it.
Joel, I can handle myself.
The rats
It's
of
called
us.
luck.
Plague
And
Tale
it is
Innocence.
gonna
Good
run
game.
out.
You should play it.
You hear that?
Unfortunately.
You ready to haul ass? Come on.
That's what we needed a slow-mo of.
Realize what your life means?
Stop with the bullshit. What are you so afraid of?
Oh. It's a really fucking good trailer. Naughty Dog, whoever you got to do this. Also in development for PC. Did they say that before? That's interesting that is on there. That's an important note. Also, because even, The Last of Us Part 2 hasn't found its way to PC yet either, right? Sony has announced all of their games are going to be coming to PC. Thank you, Fender. What do they mean? What do you mean by all of their games? What does that mean for those of us crying over Bloodborne? It's not a Sony game. It's a freaking FromSoft game. Yeah, but Sony paid for it. Anyway, let's see what the actual gameplay for The Last of Us looks like. Notice how Spoos just came out? I think Sony's finally learning that there's lots of money to be made on PC. Also, I will say, though, Sony's PC ports kick ass.
Come on.
Quiet. So I watched somebody play The Last of Us Part 2, And I admittedly was just, I didn't watch the whole game, but I will say I was blown away by the graphical fidelity of the game. Like, the game looks so good. And, like, I can completely understand why they wanted to rebuild The Last of Us Part 1 for modern consoles because of just how good Part 2 looks. And, like, it was a major undertaking because even the remastered version definitely showed its age. And I'm sure part of it is them wanting to, as much as they can, future-proof it.
Ellie, run! Run!
Oh, you fucked that up on purpose, didn't you? That's a lot. There is no UI showing up on any of this. Oh!
Well, that was easier than I thought it'd be.
Really?
They must be holed up somewhere else.
Fuck
Well,
you,
let's
dude!
go test our luck. How do we get inside?
Someone left a ladder on the bus. Here, get me up there and I'll drop it to you.
I feel like they could have remade it and remastered 2 after announcing 3. I mean, they might still do that.
Thanks, Bill.
Remake this one, announce 3, and remaster 2. Although I don't know if I feel like 2 needs remastered. Like, I think what you'll get in terms of a quote remaster for The Last of Us Part 2 is the PC version.
Okay.
Just because you'll be able to push the game to a lot higher levels. You won't be as limited by hardware. Because the games already have 4K textures and shit inside the files, right?
All right. We're gonna get in quick. We're gonna get the battery. We're gonna get the hell
But
out
you
of
can
here.
increase, like, level of detail and stuff like
Over
that.
here. Hold.
I would have spent $70 on each, but it's like I just played this game before 2 came out. I'm good right now. Hang on. I gotta rewind just a minute. I want to see him aim the shotgun. I apologize. Or the rifle. Because it's the part that I hated the most, was the way the guns felt.
Come on, Bill!
Which, like, you know, the debate over the $70 price tag on this is an interesting one. Oh. Ew.
That's not gonna hold.
Bill, make it fast!
I'd be more worried about that door.
Please tell me you're done!
He hasn't even started.
What? Fucking empty.
Guys!
Bill, where to? Bill, where?
Anywhere but here.
You made a haul ass. Come on. They broke it through.
Let's we'll sneak out the back.
You two, follow me. I'll get us out.
Be my guest. To your right.
I can't tell if the shooting is better or not. It could be that this person just sucks less than I do.
Down the hall. I bet we could cut through those classrooms. There's a way through. We gotta get past those guys.
Fire don't hurt you? All right.
Okay, keep at it.
Jesus Christ. You know, I'm curious. I don't think that we're... I realize that they're like zombies, right? But we can't actually crush each other's heads that easily, right?
Come on. Shit. There's more on the way. Barricade the doors.
Like, I don't actually know. I know that biting off a finger is as difficult as it is to bite through a carrot, which is not very hard.
Ellie, take cover.
I got this.
Do you? Man, this totally... Okay, I was gonna say this room, this gym, looks exactly like a Back 4 Blood stage. But that said, it's just a gym. Also, I mean, Back 4 Blood came out long after The Last of Us Part 1 did, so... That was a weird looking graphic.
Gotta get up there.
Not with your hands, no. I meant him stomping on the guy's head. Oh, that's it? All right. So, I guess we'll just jump immediately straight into talking about the $70 price tag, because that's the thing that I think is the most controversial thing with this game. So this is a remake of a game that already had a remaster of a game that came out back in 2012, 2013 on the PlayStation 3. And some people are like, I can't believe they're charging $70 for this slight upgrade, which, like, on one hand I get it, but last time we watched some stuff regarding The Last of Us Part 1 Remake, it was clear that it wasn't just them replacing textures, right? Like, they didn't just replace textures. Some of these characters have entirely rebuilt models completely. Like Tess, one of the characters you meet very early on in the game. She does not look the same at all. She's a completely new model. Not everyone got completely new models, but everything has very, very clearly been not just touched up, but actually rebuilt. Everything from, like, people's clothes to the environments. You can take side-by-side screenshots and see that they are not just flipping assets. They're not putting new paint on something. And yeah, so that's, you know, one of the things that makes me go, you're being a little bit disingenuous with just saying that, oh, it's just a really well done remaster. It's not. But that said, a lot of the foundation work is already done. In terms of, like, they probably didn't have to redo any animations. Obviously, there's no new storyboarding or anything that needs done. I don't know if they re-recorded any audio in terms of, like, re-recording people's voice lines or anything like that, but they obviously don't, they might not have had to if they had decent audio recording masters. So there's a lot of things that they don't have to do outside of a lot of artwork. And art is actually one of the things that can be done pretty damn quickly within video games. Then that's where one of the questions came in terms of gameplay, and that's where my question came in of, did you make any improvements to the gameplay? I know that they added a ton of their accessibility features that they got a lot of accolades for from The Last of Us Part 2 into The Last of Us Part 1, but this feels a lot like they were trying to rebuild The Last of Us Part 1. I'm guessing these games use relatively the same engine. I don't actually know, but if they can take a lot of the groundwork, the foundation of what the game is from The Last of Us Part 1, utilize all of their tools that they have from The Last of Us Part 2, mix them together, and that's what gives you this game. But there's still a lot of work that is going on here. If you want to look at some really shitty remasters, go look at, like, damn near anything that Square Enix is doing. And I'm not talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, okay? That don't count. I'm talking about any of their remasters or remakes of any Final Fantasy game besides that, okay? They are the laziest, crap-looking remasters, and a lot of remasters are lazy. Like, they just upscale the textures so that the game doesn't look like absolute garbage ass and is available on modern systems. And that's why it's like a modern port rather than, like, even what I would call a proper remaster. This is not that. It is definitely more. I really feel like what I just said. All the fans just replayed it and probably got it for free at some point. So to ask for $70 for something we just played is a bit much. So what would be the right number then? $50? Like I could see $50 maybe not getting people as upset about it, right? Because $50 would be more approachable, I think, for people that have played it. But for people like me, like, yes, I own The Last of Us Remastered, right? I've played an hour and a half of it, and I put it down, and I did not ever really intend on picking it back up. For someone like me, that this will be a first experience, because like I said, I mentioned earlier in the video, I've seen people play through not everything, but bits and parts of The Last of Us Part 2, and that game is stunning. People talk about God of War looking good. Fuck God of War, all right? I played all the way through 2018's God of War. It looked good. Last of Us Part 2 looks way better, all right? But I have not played Part 2. God of War is still a great game. But in terms of actual visuals, damn, especially world design, like the actual environment details, Last of Us Part 2, even watching it through Twitch's garbage-ass encoding, I'm like, this game is fucking pretty. Holy hell. For someone like me, though, $70 feels super worth it. Now, it's definitely worth the price tag. It's just that we don't really want to play it right now. And that's fair. I don't even think that they... And I can't necessarily speak for Naughty Dog, of course, but I don't feel like they're expecting this to ship 10 million copies in the first, 3 months. I don't think that's what their goal here is. I mentioned earlier, I think their goal here, relatively speaking, is to, as much as possible, future-proof The Last of Us. Because we have The Last of Us, and this brings Part 1 up to on par with Part 2 to where they look like the same game, right? They look the same in terms of having the same visual style and art direction from one game to the next. And when we get The Last of Us Part 3, I imagine that it will look very, very similar to Part 1 Remake and Part 2, so that the games maintain a visual style and presentation from beginning to end until we reach the end of the story, which I expect Part 3 to conclude the story that is The Last of Us, and then Naughty Dog will move on to something else. So I don't believe, of course they're going to make money off of it. They want to make money. They're in the business of making money. So they're hoping to turn a profit, but I don't believe that they are expecting to sell gangbusters of this. I expected to sell well, even with everyone being like, this game's stupid, why the fuck would you charge $70 for it? I still expect it to actually sell a pretty damn decent amount of copies. I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I've seen a lot of major outlets already getting their review copies for it, and I imagine that it's going to be very, very well received. And with as much acclaim as there is for this game, obviously Part 2 from launch to today has been controversial in terms of people's receptions of it, but one of the biggest reasons that it was so controversial is because of how people felt about this game. Because people played through this game and they had already established what they thought Part 2 should be. And that's not what I'm here to get into, but this game, I have heard almost nothing negative about it. That hasn't come from my own mouth, okay? And so with that, I can only imagine that this is probably going to be an absolutely rip-roaring, hugely accredited, beautiful accolades. They're going to have one of those accolade screens where it's just littered with 10 out of 10s and 100 out of 100s, and it's going to stretch on into the horizon, and they'll win Game of the Year again. Because why not, right? I don't know if they actually will. I think people are still invested in saying that Elden Ring is going to win Game of the Year, but who freaking knows, right? But what I do know, this looks really, really good. And when you look at side-by-sides of the PS3, the PS4 version, now the PS5 version, they all look wildly different. But this particular release is such an insane upgrade compared to even the remastered version that I feel like the people that are just trying to shit on it, saying that it's like a shitty remaster, are just being negative for the sake of being negative rather than actually having any genuine ground to stand on when it comes to that criticism. You can criticize the $70 price tag. I don't believe that the work that went into The Last of Us Part 2 to earn its $70 price tag is equivalent to the work that went into this one. I imagine this one took a lot less work So is the $70 price tag something to be critical of? Sure. But I'm also critical of $70 in general. These games should be $60. And even then, maybe less, because let's face it, there's a lot of money to be made in video games, and they're just trying to grab every single cent that they possibly can. God, I wanted to win Game of the Year just to troll everyone, right? Game of the Year 2022, The Last of Us Part 1. It came back 9 or 10 years later and won it again. You know, I honestly wanted to happen too, just so that I can watch the internet discourse. Just so that I can watch people lose their shit. Oh, God, that sounds delicious. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. We'll see what happens on December 8th when the Game Awards actually take place. Regardless of all that, what are your thoughts on The Last of Us Part 1? What do you think? How do you feel? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling bad? Let me know. Put it down in the comments below. What do you think about the actual presentation of it? What do you think about the $70 price tag? If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. Speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can watch together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. And if you watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.